Well, shareholders of Transcorp Hotel PLC have approved a total dividends payout of 13.32 billion naira for the year 2025 financial year, following strong growth in revenue and profit. The approval was granted at the company's 12th annual general meeting, which held in Abuja, where investors also adopted the audited financial statements for the year ended 31st December 2025. The declared dividends translates to 1.30 naira per share. This includes an interim dividend of 1.02 billion naira, equivalent to 10 kobo per share, which was paid in August 2025, and a final dividend of 12.29 billion naira, representing 1.20 naira per share. Now, the hospitality firm reported revenue of 97.04 billion naira for the year, marking a 38% increase from 70 billion naira recorded in 2024. Profit before tax rose 32.8 billion naira from 22.6 billion naira in the previous year, while profit after tax climbed 47% to 21.85 billion naira. Management attributed the performance to growth across its operations, including increased demand for rooms, conferences, and events. My guest is Mrs. Uzamaka Oshogwe. She is the Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer of Transcorp Hotels PLC. She joins me live from our Abuja studios. MD, good afternoon. It's good to have you join Business Nigeria.
Good afternoon, Tolu. It's nice to be here, and thanks for having me again.
Yes, thank you so very much. Well, interesting figures are reporting a revenue of nearly 100 billion naira. That's a 38% jump. In a period of macro challenges, how did you achieve this? And what does this mean for investors?
Okay. Yes, we agree. The environment, the economy has been challenging. But what we do at Transcorp Hotel PLC is that we plan ahead. So we are not reactive. Because as a business, you understand that, the business climate changes. So we have strategies put in place to ensure that we continue to deliver value to our shareholders. And how have we done this? You actually reeled out the figures when you talked about the dividends that we paid. 1 naira 30 kobo, equating to 13.3 billion naira. That is value for you, not too much talk. And if you want to benefit from this in the coming year, then you know what to do. Invest in our shares. Thank you.
That sounds really like a very good one. Now, the Transcorp Center is a 5,000 capacity multipurpose event facility, which is generating a lot of excitement. I'd like to ask you, what strategic gap does this fill, and how significant is this to your revenue outlook?
Okay, like you just mentioned, we're a 5,000 seat capacity Transcorp Center. So this has actually closed that gap, because if you think about it, over the years, that has been a challenging one for our country, where huge events, conferences do not find the right venue to hold their events. So they take it outside the country. That's why you find that most of the time when events like this happen, you are called to go to Johannesburg or to Nairobi. But now you can do this right here in Abuja. This 5,000 seat capacity can be used for various, like it's called a multi-purpose event center. So it can be used for weddings, huge conferences. And one thing that I would like to tell the audience here is that even though it's 5,000, it can actually be broken down into smaller events. So you can have 2 events, for example, running in parallel without having disruptions in your operations, and then there's no noise because we have, quite high value infrastructure put in place. So if you recall, there was a lot of news about the AfriExim general meeting that was held in June 2025. This held in our Transcorp Hilton, Transcorp Center in Abuja. And this attracted over 4,000 delegates, over a dozen presidents. And these are people from different cultures. And they utilized the entire building, the entire property, which was the 670 rooms, all fully occupied, 22 meeting rooms, in addition to the Transcorp Center, which was 5,000 seats, and then also the Congress Hall. So we have what it takes to host high profile, high value, high volume discussions within that center. How does this equate to revenue?
Yes.
Definitely. When you have customers and guests come into your center, it comes with different revenue streams. And this is what we're doing here at Transcorp Event Center. We've proven that this is the ideal location for other people to actually come and host their events. Small, big, we're here for you. Thank you.
Now, you've been consistent about ESG and, of course, sustainability. Now, in practical terms, what does that look like for Transcorp Hotels? And why should the Nigerian market care?
Okay, for ESG,
yes.
For us at Transcorp, it's not just a slogan. It's something we actually embed in our daily operations. You know, starting from our environment. We do good business and we ensure that we do clean business. So that means, for example, if you look at our energy space, we ensure that we also, apart from using the traditional diesel, that we also have other alternatives. We are working very closely with our sister company, Transcorp Energy, to explore other alternative energies and renewable energy. Right now in the hotel, we actually use gas to power some of our facilities. And that is actually doing business and also ensuring that we are being friendly to the environment. And then also around the social, we ensure that we patronize local farmers, and we also ensure that we also engage local skills as well. So when we do business, we ensure that we develop the environment in which we work in. And also looking at good governance, we have a strong board chaired by Dr. Mrs. Awele Elomelu. And, you know, our board is really big on transparency, integrity, and ensuring that good governance actually is what drives everything that we do. So those are the highlights of our ESG. For us, it's not a slogan, it's everyday living for us. Thank you. And that's how we operate.
What the truth for me is that macroeconomic challenges, inflationary pressure, FX volatility, and all of that is what we faced in the past year. Now, tell me how that also affected some of your projections.
Okay, for us in 2025, yes, like I mentioned earlier, yes, the environment can be hostile sometimes, but we are well prepared. We ensure that, for example, in the last year, that we sweated all of our assets, because the potential within our existing Transcorp Hilton Abuja is huge, is not exhausted. So even though, yes, we've made these numbers, there's also a lot of room for us to actually grow. We have outlets that we need to sweat more. That means us having in our hands strategic partnerships. And these strategic partnerships will ensure that the offerings that we actually give to our customers is fresh and current. Another thing that we do to drive all of this is also using our people, who are our most important assets, as well as technology, to ensure that we personalize our guest experience. You know, that is big for us. Another thing that we get to do is to ensure that that our guests, we're obsessed with our guests. So we take guest experience a notch higher. So when you think about it, when you are obsessed about somebody, what do? You ensure that you continue to give them extraordinary service. So that's something else that we do. In addition to what we did last year was operational excellence. You know, it's all about our data, it's all about our technology, it's also about people again. So we ensure that we continue to do things right. We ensure that costs, especially, is all about cost efficiency, to ensure that when we actually provide services to our clients, we give them value, but we're also conscious of our costs. So those are the kind of things that we also ensure within our strategy that we continue to implement. It's all about ruthless execution as well. Thank you.
Great stuff. Let's now look beyond 2025. I would ask you, where is the growth coming from?
I mentioned that earlier when I talked about sweating our assets, that we still have potential for doing
indeed.
that. But we have actually placed our strategy on three pillars. One, focus on where we put our money. So it's focus on capital allocation. We ensure that in every single investment that we make, that the revenue, the turnover from that investment must surpass the cost of capital. That's one. So we're not reckless about our investment. We must ensure that the returns make sense. Number two is also about, like I said, operational excellence. You can't, underestimate that in anything that we do, we must ensure that we operate efficiently. And that has to also do with our cost. And then I also talked about brand relevance as well, to ensure that we are a brand that guests will continue to choose, that we're a brand that our employees are proud of, and that we are also a brand that our investors trust, not just for the short term, for the long term. So with these three principles, there's nowhere else to go but up. And I'm very confident that with all of this put in place, ensuring that our guests have personalized services, whereby we are using technology to ensure that our guests are treated as if they were the best customer in the house. So they walk into their room, for example, and exactly what they like is placed before them. And that's what we use data to do. And that actually ensures that our customers keep coming back. So those are the kind of things that we are going to put in place to ensure that we continue to delight our shareholders, delight our customers, delight our investors. And then we also have plans. We're planning to actually expand into Lagos. We've actually started the pre-construction phase. And this is a space that I want everybody to look forward to. And then we're also looking at putting in place event centers outside of Abuja. But like I said, the 5,000-seater event center, Transcorp event center that we have, like I mentioned, hosted a huge AfriExim general meeting, and we are open for business for all the bigger events. Like we have.
Great stuff. You hit me there. My final question was to ask you about expansion plans and all. So you got me there, and we're waiting to see how we can also key into this, your projections moving on in 2025. But the hospitality sector, finally, of course, challenges again. I mentioned some before, security concerns and all. So are you bothered about that? We've seen a bit of stability though in the FX space now. But what would be your message to other players in that sector as we navigate these challenges in 2026, a pre-election year?
Okay, what I would say to other players is continue to be resilient and also ensure that you continue to remain relevant. As a business, challenges will always come, but you must ensure that those challenges are turned into opportunities, because those opportunities are there for the taking. And you can't overemphasize the importance of resilience. Just stick in there, do things the right way, ensure that the environment is happy that you are there, ensure that the community around you continues to grow because of your presence, and also it's all about good governance. With all of these pillars in place, there's no going back.
All right, then. We hope to have you in again to do some evaluation before we get to the figures for 2026, God willing. I must thank you so much, Uzamaka Oshogwe. Nice chat with you. She's the Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer, Transcorp Hotels, PLC. Thank you.
Thank you, Tolu, for having me.
All right, then.